When most people get their first camera, they feel like they have taken a significant step toward becoming a photographer. However, while the tools are not to be overlooked when it comes to taking beautiful photographs, the main factor behind a successful image is the photographer. Personally, I remember my disappointment after seeing the first images taken with my new camera. Yes, the images were more defined and had better colors than on my smartphone, but they still weren't worthy of displaying on a wall. I was simply unable to translate the beauty I saw in front of me into my images. And when you think about it, it is perfectly normal. You don't become a writer by buying a notebook and a pen any more than you become a musician by buying a guitar. You have to know how to read and write to be a writer and to know a few tunes and chords to produce music. The exact same rule applies to photography. In fact, looking at a photograph or a painting is very much like reading a text. If I give a text to an illiterate person, his evaluation will be limited to superficial characteristics like the number of paragraphs or the length of the text. In short, he will get some information but will miss the actual meaning. To read and truly enjoy literature, this person would have to know grammar, spelling, rhymes, and other particular codes. The same goes for photography and visual art. You need to know composition, framing, the meaning of colors, and other things to fully enjoy it. But when you go on the internet to learn photography, you find a lot of tutorials that deal with the rule of thirds and the exposure triangle. You're not going to become a good photographer just with these very basic notions or little hacks. Indeed, this type of content is often superficial. Learning a few composition hacks to achieve a quick result will not help you progress in the long run, and it won't yield good results in most situations either. To go on with the text metaphor, these hacks are just a few words of vocabulary that are given to you. You won't get the meaning of the text and even less know how to write with them alone. This is why the subjects of composition and the creative process must not be treated in a superficial way, but learn deeply. They are the ones who will ultimately give character to your images, photos that reflect who you are. But then, how to acquire this core knowledge that'll make you a photographer and not just a guy with a camera? The good news is you do not need a 3-year course in an art school to appreciate visual art. There are accessible ways to acquire and absorb this knowledge. For my part, I learned a lot about creating images from academic books on painting. Indeed, regarding composition, color grading, and a lot of other things, photography is no different from painting. In both cases, it is a question of placing the elements in a harmonious manner on a flat surface. This is how I learned the key concepts and vocabulary about composition such as unity and variety, volume, contrast, and others. I think that painters explain these concepts better than most photographers. If you don't like books that are too academic, I also offer my own method to provide you this knowledge and analytic methodology. In what I call the contact sheet format, I show the inner mechanics of photographic creation through concrete examples and in a lively tone. So don't hesitate to visit electroquescent.art to see what it looks like. Of course, this knowledge will be useless if it is not put into practice. As soon as you start to get these analytic grids and tools, then you can put them into practice. Take a photo book or go to a museum to look at paintings. Analyze them through the prism of the knowledge you have acquired. And needless to say, analyze your own shots to find what you're doing well and where you need to improve. And remember that, as with any art, you won't become good overnight. The results are not immediate, and you have to remain constant in your efforts before you succeed in putting everything together. And we've already reached the end of this video. Learn the basics if you want to practice an activity may be obvious advice. But a lot of people who are beginning in photography seem to miss it, or not know how to get this knowledge. So I thought it was important to make this video. This channel is about more than just gear tests. It's a space to master the creative process and the timeless art of film photography. If you want to stop just taking snapshots and start making art, hit that subscribe button. And for a deeper dive, your next stop is electroquescent.art. If you have a suggestion for a future video, do not hesitate to put it in the comments.